In this lessons episode, explore how AI and automation are reshaping the job market and forcing a complete rethink of how we build careers. Learn why adaptability and lifelong learning are now essential survival tools. Learn how logic rather than specific skills will define success in an AI-driven world, and learn why the future may belong to companies of one rather than massive corporate teams. So how are people going to learn or upskill if, technology is completely replacing them? Like, I think this is going to hit people coming out of college and university the hardest immediately, because I don't know where they're going to get jobs anymore.
No, I think that, I have a daughter now that's 16 years old. And I think the most important thing is to be agile. You have to expect that the job market that you're going to enter is not foreseeable right now. And so one of the ways that I've always adapted anyway is by being open to learning and just constantly, whatever that new thing is, there's always going to be a new thing. And whatever that new thing is, if you're on top of it, not trying to, outsource it to people. I'm all weekend, all evening, I'm like constantly watching videos and studying and things like that, reading books. Like, that's going to be a more important skill than ever, because if we're expecting to, okay, we're going to go to high school, we're going to go to college, and then we're done learning. Yeah, you're done.
Yeah. And I think that this is something that people first realized during COVID. Like, if they haven't upskilled and they got laid off during COVID, then they tried to get back in the job market and they were just doing the same job for the past, 20 years, and they haven't upskilled, then there was a lot of friction with them getting a new job. Now AI is making it even more difficult for those people. I think that everybody has to start acting like an entrepreneur. That's really it.
That's going to be a trend.
Yeah.
Like, I can see now already that the company sizes are shrinking dramatically, right? You're seeing at the big companies like Meta and Google and all these companies are shrinking headcount and still achieving the same.
And exceeding revenue too. Yeah. And I think there was a thing about Meta just shrunk headcount, exceeded revenue numbers, and people were giving them a hard time. Like, why would you lay people off? I'm like,
what will those people do? Like, what?
Yeah, I know, but
they do at Meta or Google when there's people are more productive.
And you have to think the company's mandate is to grow the company, grow the revenue, decrease expense.
It's their job.
It's their job.
They're
so
required,
as much
actually.
as it, it's nice if the company just employs people to employ people. At the end of the day, no company's ever going to act that way. So you have to understand how companies act, and then you conduct yourself accordingly. Basically,
that's the world we live in.
Yeah,
and that's the world our children are going to move into and everything. So I think I've seen it also at the smaller scale, right? Because I've done a lot of companies from zero to, they call it 0 to 1, but these companies from 0 to 100 or several hundred people are now, I think you can build those same kind of companies with fewer heads.
Yeah.
And so if you can, you have to, because the investors will only give you that much money.
So, I mean, you built several companies. If you look at how you build in 2025 versus how you used to build, what are some of the biggest differences? Like, when you first started out, what was like the first company? Because that would have been how many years ago? I don't want to date you. Like,
yeah.
But it was a couple of years ago, right?
Early 90s. Yeah. Yeah.
So when you first started that company, what was notably different in how you had to think through getting something from 0 to 1, getting it off the ground, raising money, hiring? I want to paint a picture for how much things have changed and how quickly things have changed.
Yeah. So my first one was like in the early 90s and then the late 90s. And back then, I think it kind of like we were very cash constrained back then. And in the early 2000s, all of a sudden cash was free. And now it's starting to get more cash constrained again, because investors know that you can do it on less cash. So back then I was doing things like Profitably, for example, because that was the only way I knew how.
Crazy idea.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I think now we're moving into, we're still doing the same kind of thing where we're doing a cash constrained, but it's incredible what we're able to get done in a short period of time. In Postalize, my new company, from quarter to quarter, when I go back and show customers or prospects the feature list that we've accomplished with such a small team, it's like blowing people away.
So when you say blown away, what is so impressive? What is it doing? Because not everybody codes, not everybody's in the weeds on this. Everyone hears about like no code, low code,
Right.
but that's all most people ever hear about it. They don't actually know what that means. And I don't even think that is even AI.
It's not. Yeah. So that's those things like Bubble and things like that, Flutter. But this is even beyond that. I'm not sure that those are even, I think those are becoming obsolete now, because now you can actually make actual, Java code, Python code, Node.js code, having like not a lot of knowledge. I saw a guy on a podcast. He was one of the business guys at Uber, and he created like a very, very successful app, just him. It's generating.
He was not a technical guy. He was like a business development guy. Yeah.
He has no staff. It's just him. And he taught himself, what nowadays they call vibe coding.
Yeah. Yeah. And he built it. And is that just as simple as going into Chat GPT and saying, literally, I need to build this app. Can you code it for me? And then taking that code and then hosting it somewhere?
Well,
or is there
most of the time it's going to get it wrong. It's
Yeah.
going to get it. But if I look at what was happening, say, a year and a half ago, the code that it was producing versus the code that it produces today, there's very few errors versus back then it was, a lot of errors. So that's just continues to get better and better. On top of that, you have you have to have knowledge of, like, the more knowledge you have of coding, the better you're going to be at it.
Because if it's like 90% of the way there, then you can take a look at it, and that's still tons of time saved.
Exactly. That's what a lot of the developers are talking about, is that it gets them 90% of the way there.
Yeah.
Although now, with products like Cursor and some of the newer models like O3, I'd say you can get it closer to like 95, 96% there.
In the past, you said that IntroHive was going to be your last company before AI came along. So, I mean, I'm laughing because I sit down with so many entrepreneurs, and whenever they say they're done, it's always a lie. Like, it's like 100% of the time a lie.
Yeah.
So what was it about? I mean, I think I know the answer, but I want to hear it from you. Like, what was it about generative AI that was so exciting for you? I know that it's efficient. I know that it can do incredible things. I know that it's the future, but you don't have to work again. So why do you want to build in generative AI and go from 0 to 1 all over again? Like, every time it's like an extra gray hair, right?
And it's not less painful.
Yeah, I know.
The coding may be easier and all that stuff, but it is for everybody else in the world too.
Yes,
So
exactly.
The competition
So now,
is higher.
exactly, yeah.
No, I would say that yes, I was going to be done, and but I think now what got me are really a couple of things. I'm really worried about our future generations a little bit. So I think that there might only be maybe 3 to 10 more years left to earn before the middle class could be completely wiped out. Because there might be so many blue collar jobs and white collar jobs that are replaced. White collar with the AI that we know now, and blue collar with the robotics and everything that's coming maybe 5 years from now. That I feel like maybe I need to earn more to help with my future generations, my daughter, and all of that.
I can ask ChatGPT for anything. What do I actually have to know? Yeah. I know how to interpret the output of a generative chat tool. Yeah. So what do I actually have to know? Just enough to interpret it and prompt it? Or
well, I think really with all of those, whether it's physics or chemistry or math or coding, what threads through them all is logic.
Yes.
And so the better we all get at logic, then that's an adaptable skill that you'll be able to drop yourself into any environment, learn some domain and make yourself useful. I think like building a company is also a process of logic. Yeah. You have to figure out what should the product be or the service be. You're figuring out, what's the market sizing, what's the competition like, how do you pick a good idea? You have to learn all about how to pick. Yeah. Then you have to figure out, well, how do I persuade an investor? And you learn all about that. But these are all logic problems, right? And so if you don't get the logic skills built up in your early years, you're probably going to struggle later on when probably, like you said, the main job will be building a company. It might be a company of one,
it could be a company of one. And I mean, one of my favorite charts is actually looking at how many people it takes to make $1 million in annual revenue. And if you look at the graph over, a period of time since the 1940s or 50s, they used to say, pretend it was like 50 people. And now to make $1 million, ARR, annual recurring revenue or annual revenue company, it's one person.
Yeah, the guy that was telling.
And not even just million. It could be several million with a Chrome extension or whatever.
They're predicting, I think Sam Altman might have said this, that but a lot of people have, that they think that they're in the next several years, there's going to be somebody that will make $1 billion company with one person.
Thanks for tuning in. If you found this valuable, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. And if you want to dive deeper into this conversation, check out the links in the description to watch the full episode. See you in the next one.